It has been said that the journey is more important than the destination. But is that true? And is it true for our educational journey? Is educational process is more important than the outcome? Every journey comes to an end. And if it has been a tiring journey, then you wanna see an outcome. Something that you have earned with your hard work and your time. Something that makes you be proud of yourself. Something that makes you happy. So how to finalize the educational journey? How to finalize the educational course? Are there any golden rules? Yes. And it sounds like begin with the end in mind, which means that do not wait till you design the whole program of your course to start thinking about how I will round it off. So in fact, thinking about the ending goes hand in hand with the defining your course objectives. A substantial amount of research show that the right closing of educational event gives learners an opportunity to reflect and to debrief information, which is extremely important. Reflection is simply another word for learning. And what distinguishes it from other kinds of learning is that the reflection grows out of the experience. It is the process of looking back on the implications of actions taken, bad or good, and determining what has been gained, what has been lost, what has been learned and achieved, and connecting these conclusions to future actions and larger context. The concluding activity should leave the learners on a high similar to the introductory activity. It means to help learners to realize how much learning have happened here in this place. Find a way to organize this new information and to leave the entire course being empowered and energized, being positive about the course and the workshop. Without this crucial step, learners will have much difficulties with applying the information that they just have learned. Effective closing based on feedback plays a critical role in helping adult learners achieve their educational goals and reach their maximum potential. It should be an integral part of every adult education program. Usually, closing methods are divided into two groups. The first one is emotional closing, and the second one is intellectual, mental closing, like giving and receiving a feedback, which includes the content of the course, methods of the course, and the first reaction about the gained knowledge and the future steps. These two groups fall also into several small categories like individual or group methods, online or offline methods, verbal, non-verbal, or written methods. Used together or in combination, these methods give learners opportunity to finalize the course or workshop, generally the educational learning process emotionally and intellectually. And the educator can receive the first emotional and intellectual reaction to the course. So let's look closer to each of these categories. And we will begin from the emotional closing. Emotions always come first. People consider to be reacting machines. It's like, doesn't matter what you're doing now, if you're watching a TV, film, or reading an article, your emotional reaction to the information and to something with what you see now comes first. So you become angry, or you like something, you dislike something, you feel happy before your intellectual reaction comes. So before the emotions will be decoded and transferred into your thoughts and ideas. And even more, when we feel intensive emotions, and it doesn't matter what kind of emotions, positive or negative, our logical mind simply is blocked and cannot work. So to switch our mind on, we need to do something what psychologists call ventilation of emotions, which means that we have to talk about our emotions. We have to give our emotions way. And only after that, our logical part of the mind will be switched on and you will be ready to reflect on what you already saw or gained or achieved or learned. That's why methods of emotional clothing are so important. And alongside with the emotional clothing, there is also a term of psychological clothing. Methods of psychological clothing are mostly important for adult learners and often used instead of final shaking hands or final saying goodbye. Examples of psychological clothing is that you may consider raffling of flowers, t-shirts, caps or hats, or other items with some quotes from the course or name of the course. The t-shirts could be creative with examples of the related topics, such as I passed human sexuality class, or ask me about my identity, or other course topics. You can close a course psychologically by reading a story or a parable. It is a good method for a long-term course. Usually adult learners feel very excited during last days or last weeks of the course, especially if they have any kind of finals. So this parable may have a greater impact if it is relatively short and if you read this parable the week before the finals. Use of certificates of achievement or completion, the mementos is very appropriate. Certificates can include a quote for each learner or recognition of a personal achievement, like to James Smith for completing SPSS and finally learning what a negative correlation means. In addition, certificates can provide a humorous ending to the class, and other learners can take part in making class certificates by having each learner write a positive feedback or a positive comment on each other's certificates. Usually, adults enjoy these activities more than youth. Now we will talk about the individual and group clothing. Group clothings are very popular, but individual ones used less often and usually just in a form of a simple questionnaire. Individual clothing is self-assessment. It is the ability to examine yourself to find out how much progress have you made. It is believed, first, you should learn to judge yourself before being judged by the world. This process may assist in making learners more aware of and more responsible for their own learning process. It helps to develop important metacognitive skills that contribute to a range of important graduate capabilities. All professionals must be able to evaluate their own performance, so this practice should be embedded in the adult education programs. Examples of individual methods are one thing. So when you use the exercise like one thing, you can ask your participants or learners to answer only one question for themselves individually. Like, what is one thing I learned, which if I start doing now can make a big difference to my work? Or the method which is called what, who, when action plan. So you will ask them, your learners, to complete a template of the action plan where they have to write what they are going to do first 2-3 steps just after going out of this course, who can help them with these steps, and when they have to do it, when it should be done. They can leave it for, you can leave it for individual use, or you can make them share these plans in the group. Or the third example is elevator speech or elevated pitch for learning, which means that you can encourage your learners to look at the whole course from the bird's eye perspective and compose a short presentation for 3 minutes, which they can make for their bosses or colleagues or friends after they leave the course. Presentations similar to an elevator pitch, just for 3 minutes. Group methods examples. Group closing methods give learners additional insights about learning outcomes and value of the course. When they hear thoughts of other people from the group, they suddenly pay attention to aspects of the course they forgot or didn't pay attention to. Sometimes they hear new connections, new ideas, new insights, find new direction for further thinking from other people or from their comments. And these group methods help learners to create so-called 3D picture of the course and achievements. So you can ask learners to meet in small groups and to share their top 10 lists of the most important or significant studies or concepts, theories discussed during the course. You can allow them to share lists and debate with other groups about the rankings. You can also review course as a game. James Weinberg developed a way to bring a closure and also to have a sense of a celebration by having the review sessions in the form of a game of charades, but also other game styles, activities like Jeopardy or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire could be adapted as a fun way of reviewing the course. You can revisit course goals and objectives because many educators, and it's right, ask learners in the beginning of the course what are their learning goals, but they completely forget to come back to this material at the end of the course. So here you can come back to the goals that learners had and try to make them organize a discussion on what goals have been met, or maybe some goals stayed just on the paper and the learners even forgot to work on them. So what happens with the goals of learners? So during this activity, learners even can provide other examples of the achievements which the educator was unaware of. Meaningful projects and outside groups. You can invite an outer group for comprehensive project presentations. For example, the product of your course is a kind of a project. It can be a theoretical project, or it can be something practical when your learners created a concrete product, or they know how to teach the others to do something. But when you invite the outer group for the presentation, you give your learners a chance to see that the outcomes are really valuable for the local society or for a concrete target group. Mind map. You can have learners draw a group mind map of the information they learned during the course. And the last example, which is called circular interviewing. So you can divide the group into two circles, the inner and the outer, and explain them that each one of you will ask the person opposite to you open questions, 2 open questions. The topic of your first question should be anything related to the purpose and the desired outcome of the course or of the training. And the second question must be related to the first answer. So you will be developing the other person's idea and developing your understanding of it. The second questioner will be a person sitting next to the current questioner. So the circles will go round. So round by round, you will go until everybody has asked and were being asked 2 questions. So let's talk now about verbal, written, and non-verbal closing methods. When you write down your ideas, you automatically focus on them. Few, if any of us, can write one thought and think another one at the same time. That's why pen and pencil are the best concentration tools. Ideas don't stay with us for a long time. Fine or awesome ideas pop up in our mind, sometimes in strangest times, but they leave very quickly. And if we don't capture them, they will be gone with the wind. So you need to capture them fast. Ideas got during the course also need to be captured at paper. Then they will be captured by the mind. And the older your learner is, the more important it is for his memory to capture ideas. Writing results down makes thinking clearer. It gives an overview of things learned and makes it easier to find new connections. And sometimes you can find these new connections only when you see concepts and your ideas on the paper. So what are examples of some written methods? The one which is quite widespread is writing letters. Yes, letters with paper and the pen. You can ask your learners to write a letter to themselves outlining the most important results that they got during this course or personality changes that happened to them. Or you can ask them to write a letter to successors, to learners enrolled in the course in the future, detailing what can be gained from this course, as well as broader advice on being a successful learner. Or a tool which is called 1-minute picture or 1-minute sentence. For this tool, you need to put 1 minute on the timer and ask learners to write or to draw the most important thing they have learned or the biggest question about the course they still have. And they can discuss it with the group altogether. The next tool is shape shifting. So you can ask learners to draw any kind of shape on a white sheet of A4 paper. And then they should fill the shape with as much information they think is important new learning from the course as they can. Okay, we can finish with written tools. I already gave you an example. What about non-verbal closing? Non-verbal closing allows individuals to structure their thoughts and improve future recall. Getting the whole body involved in a method can activate brain and make material more memorable. Many adults have difficulties in expressing emotions, and visual or body involvement methods help them to do it. Visual methods also are important for people with limited literacy or language difficulties. So what are examples of nonverbal methods? One is called chunks. You can ask participants to graphically record the key points of a course or a learning segment on a flip chart without using written words, so just an image. Then ask the individuals or teams to explain their drawings. It is called sometimes mental model, so the key points represent a mental model. You even can distribute prizes for scariest mental model or for most colorful mental model or a model which you can call my kindergartner could do better. The tool which is called choosing a picture. You can have several sets of association cards, or you can prepare it yourself, printing them out from the pictures on the internet or cutting them out from journals. The important thing is to have different kind of pictures. which you can put on the floor and ask participants to pick out one or two which can speak about the emotional experience during the course, or can express the key insight or key learning outcome. Sculptures. In this tool, you can give every participant a piece of clay or play dough and ask each of them to give it a shape as per their learning takeaway from the program. Or you can ask them to draw a course. For that, you can just take a long white sheet of paper and ask a group to draw and picture the emotional experience of the course. Or this is a very good method of video group-up. It came to adult education from formal education, from university, where students of first courses love to do it. Really. Now the public which really enjoy this methods are adults. So you can ask teams, you can divide the group into teams and ask them to create a fun video highlighting their key learning points. And you can encourage them to post their videos online or share it with the colleagues. And the best of all the worlds, they will view it over and over again. So, okay, we were talking about written tools and about nonverbal tools. What about online and offline methods? Education can effectively function using next generation tools. Yeah, we still call it next generation tools, but actually it is present generation tools. Clouds, digital and mobile technologies are increasingly used in the classroom for identifying and evaluating learners in formal and non-formal education. They are fast, they are colorful, and they calculate data quickly, and they display the results in a very colorful and nice way with pictures and graphs. Most of them have a function of downloading, and the educator can easily get all the results in one file on his computer. But this method has disadvantages. And the first disadvantage is the educator should have a really great wireless connection in the room. Sometimes it happens that the connection seems to be great for Facebook or great for checking your emails. But when you start working with a platform, it fails, which means that the educator has to change or to check the connection before he starts working. And another disadvantage is that for using these platforms or applications, your learners should have certain models of mobile phones. So old models of mobile phones just do not support some application or platforms, so you cannot work with them. And older generation, those who are over 60 years old, sometimes just have not an appropriate model of the phone. So you also have to distribute the information about your learners, what kind of devices they should have at this particular closing meeting. So let's look at some examples of internet or online platforms and online tools for closing your course. The first one is called Wordle. Wordle creates word clouds from text that you provide. If you ask learners to express their learning outcomes with 3 separate words using this service, you will get a word cloud of the group outcomes. Everybody usually likes it because it's really beautiful, nice, it's fun. And also you can see the internet address of this platform on your slide. The next one, quite widespread, it is called Mentimeter. It is a free online voting tool that helps to gather baseline information and feedback among what participants wanted from the day or from a course and what they are taking away now. The tool projects word clouds in real time, giving instant feedback to the organizers and to participants. And participants require a smartphone to vote, and the venue has to have wireless connection. SurveyMonkey. It's an online survey tool, so you can make a survey as a closing method. You can also pay to create more complicated surveys. So in a free format, SurveyMonkey has less possibilities, but if you pay, you can have more functions there, and you can access to tools to analyze the results of the educational course. Impactosaurus. Impactosaurus is an online tool for recording, monitoring, and reporting on soft outcomes. It is currently free to use, and it uses scaled questionnaires to record quantitative data. Slido. Slido is one of my favorite platforms because it has a lot of different functions, and it is easy to use questions and answer and polling questions and answers, and it's also a polling platform for live or remote meetings, events, classes, and webinars. It allows crowdsource top audience questions, maximize the questions and answers times by letting people vote for their favorite questions, engage participants with live polls and quizzes, collect instant feedback with surveys, brainstorm ideas with upvotes about selected topic. There's no need to download anything. The audience just use their smartphone, tablet, or laptop connected to the internet, which you have in the room. So there are many more different online tools, which you can also find in the internet. They are now emerging because online education is getting more and more popular. But we also still have offline meetings and offline tools. And the biggest advantage of offline method is to compare to online is an ability of learners see and hear other group members' ideas and outcomes. In group feedback sessions, participants double their takeaway ideas, and personal importance of the course grows. So for the maximum impact, if you discuss positive and negative sides of your course, so try to do so that the positive information should be shared before negative one. And the feedback should be specific, objective, consistent, and timely. The environment in which closing method take place must be supportive and should encourage an open dialogue between the educator and the learners. Both parties should discuss various items in spirit of collaboration. Oral, written, visual, and other modes of providing feedback, such as computers and smartphones, should be considered and used as appropriate. The combination of all methods will give all the learners possibility to participate and contribute, notwithstanding their dominant learning style or channel of communication, or the same as language possibilities. And I would like to close our module about methods of education with the individual reflection and one thing method. I would like you to answer individually just one question for yourself.